Success starts with authenticity, really. So, that means supporting causes that military families care about, telling real stories, and showing up consistently in ways that really reflect their values. Walmart suppliers who invest in that approach can really transform shoppers into brand advocates.
Military families represent one of the most overlooked yet powerful consumer groups in America. With more than 34 million people directly connected to service and a combined $1.2 trillion in annual buying power, this community spends more per capita than African Americans and responds to brands with extraordinary loyalty. In this course, suppliers will learn what makes military families unique shoppers, why authenticity matters more than discounts, and how to design campaigns that earn long-term loyalty. Participants will also see why ignoring this segment leaves opportunity on the table and how Walmart suppliers who act now can align with a pivotal cultural moment while building lasting growth. Chris, welcome. Let's start with your story. Can you introduce yourself and share a bit about Be Big Communications and the work you do with Walmart suppliers?
Yeah, I'm Chris Bodman, head of growth strategy for Be Big Communications. I'd like to say that my role is to help Be Big be bigger. Be Big is one part content publisher and one part media platform. Our underlying goal is really to provide value for active duty service members, veterans, and their families. So that includes all sorts of content, product recommendations, discount programs, and more. So on one side of that equation, we're building communities, drawing in military audiences with the stuff that they want to see and read, and the things that they need. And on the other side, we're helping Walmart suppliers connect through those communities with paid media, discount programs, and other authentic content opportunities.
Why are military families such an important and unique audience for brands?
So military families are, I think, one of the most overlooked and yet very powerful consumer groups in America. So the military audience represents a sizable portion of the population. It has a significant buying power and a tremendous sense of loyalty. Winning over this audience, really means that you can earn customers for life. They're twice as likely to claim loyalty to a particular brand over the general market, which makes sense since loyalty is drilled into military service members from the very beginning. And if all of that's not enough, the positive vibes of giving back to service members who have sacrificed so much for this country really should be something that every brand wants to be a part of. So for Walmart suppliers, that translates into really a massive opportunity to grow household penetration and drive incremental revenue if you know how to connect with that audience authentically.
With $1.2 trillion in annual buying power and connections to 34 million Americans, what makes this community such a powerful growth engine?
So for starters, let's put that 34 million number in context. I think that's helpful. So there's roughly 340 million people in the US. So that means 1 in 10 Americans have either worn the uniform or love someone who has. Right out of the gates, that's significant. $1.2 trillion seems sizable, again, but it really hits home when you realize that per capita, that means that there's more buying power in this military affiliated audience than with the African American demographic. As a marketer, I know that you're always looking for angles to connect with shoppers. You're always looking for audiences, targeting schemes, and ways to get your brand in front of the people who might want to become customers. This audience gives you all of that, a unique targetable group that has significant buying capacity and a desire to consume your products. I'm willing to bet that you haven't invested here, but the potential for breaking through with your brand in this market is palpable.
How big is this community, and what makes them different from other consumer segments?
Breaking it down, there's 2.9 million active duty, reserve, and National Guard members, 16 million veterans, roughly, plus their families of around 15 million. That makes the military affiliated population total out at roughly 34 million people, or about 10% of the US population, like we said earlier. For context, let's compare that military audience with the two major demographic groups that probably get the most marketing attention in America: Hispanics and African Americans. So Hispanic consumers represent about 20% of the US population. These are rough numbers here. The annual purchasing power of US Hispanic buyers is really a rapidly growing economic force, currently estimated at about $4.1 trillion a year. African American buyers are about 15% of the population, and sources place their spending power around $1.7 trillion annually. And then compare that for the military audience to 10% of the population and $1.2 trillion for the military in buying power. So breaking that down in comparative buying power, Hispanics are spending $60.3 thousand per capita annually. African Americans are spending $33,000 per capita. And this military affiliated audience that we're talking about is spending $35.3 thousand annually. So, like I said, more than African American. While there's obviously going to be overlap with the military audience and other demographics, there's no denying that as a group, they make sense economically. Frequent relocations, deployments, unpredictable schedules, those all shape how military families shop, right? They value convenience, they value consistency, and trust above all else. Because they move so often, they quickly form new routines. And when they find a reliable brand, they stick with it. This means that once you've earned their loyalty, they're likely to remain customers for the long haul. So you've got targetable demographic with consistent emotional triggers and motivations. Check. Economically viable audiences with significant spending power. Check. Pre-populated and engaged platform the audience interacts with daily. Our platforms. Check. What more do you need?
What role does loyalty play in shaping their shopping behaviors?
The military community is known for a deep sense of trust and loyalty. After all, it's sort of baked into their core identity and trained into them from basic training on. That sense of loyalty doesn't end at their chain of command, though. Those values extend to the brands and businesses that actively support them. Research is ample to show that military consumers have significantly stronger propensity for brand loyalty compared to the general population. In fact, one study found that 71% of military affiliated consumers report staying loyal to a brand that supports the military versus 34% among civilians. Winning them over means that they're going to go out of their way to alter their shopping behavior to get their hands on your products. So it makes a lot of sense to work with that.
Why should Walmart suppliers see this audience as a clear path to revenue growth?
When a brand authentically invests in the military community, whether through targeted marketing, sponsorships, or other meaningful partnerships, service members and their families notice. For example, USAA has built its entire business on serving military families, and they're consistently ranked among the top companies for customer loyalty and satisfaction. So that's no accident. Also, you could look at like Home Depot, their long-term commitment to hiring veterans and offering military discounts. It's really strengthened its brand perception and customer base among service members and their families. When military consumers feel understood, valued, seen, they respond with this long-term loyalty that extends well beyond their years of service. This influences their purchasing decisions for life, really, and they often pass those brand preferences on to their families and even to their communities.
Why are discounts not enough to build loyalty with military families?
Obviously, discounts are going to be appreciated. So don't get me wrong there, but you can't look at them as a strategy. Military families, like I said, want to be seen, understood, respected. They respond best really to brands that acknowledge those sacrifices that they're making and that support their communities and the causes that serve the military affiliated communities. Authenticity here really matters more than just the savings program. And brands that go beyond that transactional offer can build a stronger, longer lasting connection.
What mistakes do brands make when engaging this audience, and how can they avoid them?
So, if you think that spouting patriotic slogans without backing them up with real action, it's probably better not to bother. Flags and hashtags don't equal loyalty. Spouses and children do drive many purchase decisions, just like in the general market. So don't ignore them. Military marketing means paying attention to the whole family. Be careful not to overgeneralize. This group has similarities, but it's not a monolith. Active duty, veterans, retirees, they all have different needs, different mindsets, different interests. There's similarities, but don't treat them as one single unit. Military families sacrifice a lot, so greet them with big picture support, not one-off campaigns, right? So true impact, it really requires a sustained commitment, not just a seasonal ad. We already touched on this, but don't just try to sell them on a discount. Military audiences, I think, can spot this performative support instantly. You have to really create authentic partnerships and then really be true to that purpose. And finally, military marketing done right is, like I said, about authenticity, respect, and this long-term engagement. So I think the big mistake that brands can make is to not think about it in those terms. It requires brands to move beyond just symbolism and invest in understanding what truly matters to this community.
What does authentic engagement look like? And can you share an example of a campaign that got it right?
Success starts with authenticity, really. So, that means supporting causes that military families care about, telling real stories, and showing up consistently in ways that really reflect their values. Walmart suppliers who invest in that approach can really transform shoppers into brand advocates. People who don't just buy, but proudly recommend products to others. One example I wanted to share is from some work we did for New Balance. It's really a good example of military marketing done right. So the objective here was to drive awareness and obviously entice purchase of the performance and inline shoes and apparel. There's a whole set of apparel that went along with this. We were targeting authorized military shoppers. So these are shoppers that are authorized to access the commissary benefit, so they can shop on base at a commissary. That could be active duty, but there's a lot of veterans. It's about 8.5 million people are authorized shoppers. They're living within 25 miles of an exchange or a commissary. And obviously with an interest in athletic apparel and shoes. So what we did here was we used our all channels on approach, which is this omni-channel approach that we develop. And we specifically used a video campaign leveraging highly geo-targeted social display ads along with email and other digital activations. We used our website, mymilitarysavings.com and mymilitarylifestyle.com, along with some select in-store shopper marketing activations. The solution here was to promote the various New Balance shoes and apparel lines visually through this lifestyle marketing approach that leveraged these videos. And what we did here was we used influencer style videos. We have a series of uh, military influencer type content creators who are living the life. They're military spouses and active duty military, who could highlight the products and their use of them and on camera and through their own photography. So it was a really great personal connection. We saw a nearly 5% sales lift over the course of this promotion, and we had 5.3 million impressions throughout the campaign. So it was a really great reach and a really good sales lift for New Balance with this particular audience.
Walk us through your all channels on model. How does it connect suppliers with military families across every touch point?
I mentioned this in the New Balance case study. So all channels on is this integrated approach. I think, connecting with modern audiences really requires integrated marketing more than it ever has before. So we have this proprietary model that ensures that clients get that notice that they need. It's a wide array of tactics that are mixed together in a particular way through various channels. We use a lot of our own platforms like mymilitarisavings.com and mymilitary.lifestyle.com, but we also extend that reach through social media and other digital programs, streaming TV, things like that. And the idea here is to really engage on a daily basis with the military audiences and hit them across various channels so that you get that combined effect of all of those. So all channels on gives you really, we create a bespoke collection of tactics that are designed to reach across those platforms and hit at all levels with that consistency and repetition that is all important.
How do platforms like mymilitarisavings.com and mymilitary.lifestyle.com give brands direct access to this audience?
Those are our two cornerstone products. mymilitary.lifestyle.com, we call that MML. That's really the backbone of what we do. It's basically, for lack of a better concept, an online magazine for the military lifestyle. This is where all of our content lives, where we draw in the military audiences with blogs and videos and other content that's meaningful and important to them. Basically, we build content that they're already searching for, so that draws them in. We also use MML to help current and former service members stretch every dollar by uncovering, exclusive military discounts, money-saving tips, travel options, and lifestyle deals tailored just for their lifestyle. MyMilitarySavings.com, MMS, is really our one-stop discount hub online for military and veteran households. We offer exclusive deals, coupons, money-saving tips that help our members live well without overspending. Both of those sites are also supported very strongly through a robust social media engagement and content program. And they attract military audiences and really just engage them with the things that they are seeking out already, right? So when our partners run content programs, run of site ads, brand pages, sweepstakes, discounts, things like that through these platforms, they're reaching an already engaged audience that's looking for this kind of material and is already warmed up to this kind of messaging. So what that does is it really makes things that much more effective. It helps stretch those marketing dollars, gives you that ROI, and stretches those dollars further.
What role does in-store and commissary alignment play in driving both brand and category growth?
Military families shop in both commissaries and Walmart. Commissaries offer access to base-specific goods, but Walmart is often the most convenient or dependable retailer. And commissaries don't always have all of the things that they need. And especially during relocations, Walmart can really provide some shopping opportunities that may not exist otherwise. So that overlap gives Walmart suppliers a really unique advantage and an ability to reinforce category performance, grow household penetration, and also position their brands as trusted staples in military households.
Why does Walmart play such a unique role in the lives of military families?
Like with any family, military families are trying to make ends meet. They want convenience and good prices, don't we all? 8.5 million people have access to commissary and exchange benefits, which is great. That offers, steep discounts on base, but not everyone can reasonably access those facilities. They might be too far away, they might have mobility issues or whatever. Walmart offers convenience and really good prices with the added benefit of that selection that they may not always get. I'm going to do that part again. Walmart offers convenience and really good prices with the added benefit of excellent selection. Shopping at Walmart allows for affordable access to really everything that the family might need. And when you add in service like Walmart Plus, the access and convenience skyrockets. Simply put, really no other retailer can offer as much for prices as competitive. And that combination is really a slam dunk for this audience.
How can Walmart suppliers tailor messaging and offerings to military families already shopping in Walmart's ecosystem?
The main thing here is to be earnest in your approach. You can think of them, you can't think of them as just, like a buying demographic, but you have to actually walk the walk on making them feel seen and supported. There has to be, this authenticity in your approach. Understanding the specific needs of military families and where your product's benefits overlap with those needs is a really good start. Be Big can help with that by sorting through what those needs are and where that overlap exists. We have access to really a whole bunch of data from all of these people in our various platforms that we can segment out and delve into to really get inside the heads of whatever particular subgroup your product is appealing to. So using that data can go either way, right? For messaging or for product offerings. Basically, data is your friend, especially in the modern world here. And because we're connected with millions of these military members through social media, website traffic, and email content, we really have quite a database to draw from here. And then we also enrich that data from other sources. So that allows us to build these distinct profiles. We call them baseball cards, really on each individual that's within our platform. And then we can, group those together by interests, by demographics, and more. And all those subsegments open us up to allow us to target lookalike audience that are even outside of our platform. So not only can we do that subdivision and target those folks within our vehicles, but we can use that data to target folks that are like that outside of our vehicles. So basically, Be Big can take the guesswork out of all of that messaging and aligning offerings and targeting for different audiences and make that really sing for your brand.
How does engaging the military community reinforce category growth, incremental household penetration, and shopper loyalty inside Walmart stores?
I'll say it again. This is quite potentially an untapped audience for you. Yes, you might be capturing parts of this audience with your various other marketing efforts, but this dedicated approach, I think, is going to garner significant results. So first off, category growth. Military families are high frequency shoppers who really rely on Walmart for everyday essentials. When suppliers build campaigns or activations that resonate with them, it'll drive incremental trips and bigger baskets. This doesn't just grow sales for one brand, it can expand an entire category by pulling in purchases that might have gone elsewhere to the commissary, to exchanges, or other, Amazon or whatever other retailers. Incremental household penetration, with 34 million people directly tied to this military service, suppliers who connect authentically are unlocking a vast segment of shoppers who may not yet be buying your brand in Walmart. By winning even a fraction of those households, suppliers can expand penetration. New buyers entering the brand or category because they see themselves represented and supported. And then shopper loyalty, we talked about this earlier, but military families are exceptionally loyal once you've earned that trust. Authentic engagement, whether through military focused messaging or cause partnerships or even in-store activations, can turn casual buyers into repeat shoppers. In Walmart's high volume environment, that could mean, a military family who chooses your brand once is going to be more likely to stick with it long term. And that reinforces sales predictability and advocacy across their networks. So the bottom line here, engaging the military community doesn't just drive, short-term lifts. It's going to grow categories. You're going to bring in new households, and you're going to build on that loyalty that compounds over time. So it really makes it a smart strategy for Walmart suppliers who want sustainable growth and who doesn't.
What KPIs matter most in evaluating the success of military-focused campaigns?
As with a lot of answers and things like this, this really depends on the product that you're selling and the goals that you have. Military marketing isn't, we're not running plays from a different playbook. We're not rewriting and, it's not new. It's the same stuff. So, it draws from the same tools that any kind of, you could consider it similar to any other multicultural marketing effort. We measure big picture KPIs like impressions, social engagements, email open rates, click-through rates, et cetera, the normal stuff that you would measure. But we can also go deeper down and track things like sales data, app downloads and usage, that sort of thing. So it really all just depends on what you're trying to do. Are you selling an energy drink? That's going to be different from trying to get somebody to download a fuel rewards app, for example. We can and do both of those, but what indicates performance for both is going to be quite different, as you might imagine. I would suggest that for a Walmart supplier, you're going to probably be looking at the same KPIs as any other campaign that you might be running. Impressions, click-throughs, and then ultimately purchases. So if we're running a content campaign, you might also expand that to look at like engagement metrics, video views, shares, that kind of thing. But, really what we would want to do is work with you on defining exactly what KPIs we're trying to drive, and then build the campaign specifically to drive those things, but also measure them as we're executing.
How do you track not just engagement, but conversion, repeat purchase, and advocacy within this community?
Tracking success with the military community, I think, is going to require going beyond that surface level engagement to measure actual behavior. I think the key here is to figure out how to connect awareness with action, and then action with loyalty, right? So thinking about this from an engagement funnel type of concept, moving engagement to conversion, we'd want to track campaign reach and engagement within the military channels, these digital platforms, on-base activations, military content partnerships, things like that. and then tie those exposures to sales lifts inside Walmart using tools like Circana, Spins, Nielsen, Scintilla, whatever tools you're using to track that stuff, we want to connect through our platform. So this is going to show whether awareness is converting to baskets. Then the next step would be to take conversions to repeat purchases, right? So using household panel data and loyalty tracking to see if military households are coming back to buy the same product again. Getting those repeat purchase rates are going to reveal whether we've moved from trial to habit. Going from repeat, the next holy grail is that repeat purchase to advocacy, right? We want to turn these folks into brand advocates. So that's the strongest in the military community because of the tightly networked group that we're talking about here. So we would look to measure those things through, social listening in military forums or through our own platforms, monitoring earned media, perhaps, and leveraging post-purchase surveys of the community. Again, we have access to the community, so we can ask things like, would you recommend this to another military family? High referral intent is a leading indicator of advocacy, obviously. And this is an area where BBIG can really, leverage our own data and collection tools. And then we can also, we have some research partners. One of them is Decision Analysts. We have a custom panel that we're building with them. So that allows us to really access specific military audiences and ask them questions like this. And then we have a tool called Leverage Lab that helps us sift through our own data. So we can really glean that critical information to identify, the shift from repeat purchase to advocacy. The most effective programs, I think, are going to link exposure, purchase, and repeat purchase within kind of a closed loop of data. And so we want to be able to show not just who saw the message, but who bought it, and then who came back, and then who spread the word, right? So I think with data analytics these days, you want to identify what you're trying to measure up front so that you can bake it into that loop and have that reporting loop work in your benefit to be able to measure that out. So, the key takeaway here, again, engagement is only the first step. We really want to be driving true impact through that conversion, repeat purchase, and advocacy. That's really going to get you that lasting revenue impact inside Walmart.
Why is now the time for Walmart suppliers to prioritize military families, especially as America approaches its 250th anniversary?
This audience is a viable, robust, and actively shopping demographic. I can't say that enough times. Military families are repeat, high-frequency shoppers. Their strong networks mean that one satisfied customer can influence dozens more. So by connecting authentically, Walmart suppliers can unlock not just that short-term sales, but that sustainable growth that's driven by loyalty, advocacy, and that word-of-mouth influence within this unique community. With America 250 on the horizon, honoring service and celebrating the military community has never been more relevant. Brands that start building things now can align with that sort of, I think, pivotal cultural moment that we're going to be seeing here over the next year, and earn that goodwill while building that long-term business growth and connection with the audience. Winning, you have to look at it, winning with military families, it's not charity, it's smart business, right? We're not talking about nonprofit activity. It's a smart business choice. Walmart suppliers who take action today can start to capture that market share, grow revenue, and build that brand loyalty with this, one of the most powerful consumer segments. And as we build up to America 250, that's just going to gain traction and power over the next, the next 6 months to a year.
For a Walmart supplier that hasn't yet engaged this community, what's the best first step to begin working with Be Big Communications?
I keep saying this, but just give me a call. It's really that easy. We start conversations with, we really try to have an intent to understand what your needs are and figure out, the best way that Be Big can help you. I think with the size of this audience that we're talking about, it's going to be a good idea for your brand. But that's not always the case. And we're going to tell you that if we don't think that your brand has the right connection with the audience, we're going to tell you that. But I'm willing to bet that it will, and it's a good idea. And so give me a call. We're a small, scrappy team. We're gonna work really hard to get you the traction that you need, move the needle. But it has to start with that phone call or email. So let's get the conversation started and let's talk about how you can reach this military audience.